Joining us now on NFL Now, the voice of the Jets, it's Bob Wischusen joining us as well as Kim Jones. Bob, your reaction to hearing the number 2 overall pick say there's no pressure on himself. He's got to earn this job. Other people, though, are probably going to put a fair amount of pressure on the kid.
Well, I've heard Kim talk about this on the radio. I would agree with her. I think looking at the Jets' current roster, I like Zach's chances of being the opening day starter. I think there's a very here's what I will say. And look, I'm not one to set the odds or be a prognosticator. I think there's a strong possibility that he will earn the air quotes there, fit in there, earn the opening day quarterback position. So, yeah, they're going to start him on opening day. There's no one else on the roster to compare. There really isn't that veteran that's kind of the logical guy for him to tutor under. Maybe they can bring someone in, but there aren't too many of those guys out there on the market right now. And he's the number 2 pick in the draft. I mean, when does a 2-win team get the number 2 pick in the draft and not start him? So, yeah, he'll be the starter on opening day, barring something completely unforeseen.
Bob, it's Kim, and I love listening to you and Marty Lyons on the radio call for the Jets. And I ask this of you as a friend as well as a media colleague. Can you and Marty actually hope to have some joy this season after calling a 2-14 year? Honestly, it had to be brutal, Bob.
Yeah, Kim, it warms my heart to know that you care that much and worry that much about our well-being. That does make me feel good. So thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, at this point, especially with the rebuild that I think Joe Douglas knew he was taking on when he got a 6-year contract, and he got a 6-year contract for a reason. We understand there's a long-term future that they're looking at, much more so than this coming season, but they have added some nice pieces. I mean, this draft looks like they're going to be at least an entertaining offense to watch, and going out and getting Corey Davis and Keelan Cole and, you know, adding a Carl Lawson as a pass rusher. They hit free agency as well, and I think got some players that will definitely help them. So, I mean, I think a Jet fan realistically at this point would just like to go into Thanksgiving or early December and say, hey, they're adding a wild card spot. Hey, we've got a chance to at least play some meaningful games late in the season. That would be a step in the right direction. But there's still a long-term goal out there. It feels like Joe Douglas has been here forever. Like him, you've done radio, obviously, in New York, and you cover the New York teams. This was only his second draft. It was only really his first full swing at free agency. It feels like he's been here for 5 years, but he really did get the job at a very odd time where a lot of the GM work for the first year he had the job was kind of already done. Now, I think he's really starting to put his imprint on this team.
And so, Bob, if we take a positive view, a positive short-term view on this long-term situation, you had spoken about perhaps what would be reasonable for people to hope for. What would be reasonable for you in terms of this is a success here in 2020 for this team?
Well, they were 2-14. So it probably wouldn't take a whole heck of a lot for us to feel like things got better. But remember, 2 years ago, and even with a decent amount of this team still here, they were 7-9 and finished 6-2 in their last 8 games. And that was what gave me some hope that, you know, Sam Darnold can still do this. And I thought he was still the future at quarterback. I'm not blind to the fact now that even though they got Zach Wilson, he's the second pick in the draft, he is a rookie. He's on a team that won 2 games last year. And there are going to be some rookie growing pains, even if you're a rookie on a good team. So I just think with a new head coach, a rally around the leader kind of head coach, and an infusion of talent, I think with some guys coming in free agency that prove they also believe in more of that long-term vision. I don't think Corey Davis and Carl Lawson were going to come here unless they thought that this was a coach and this was a front office that was worth playing for and under, that they believed in the vision, that if they're a 500 team this year, or a couple of games below 500. It's a 17-game season. So let's say they go from 2-14 to 7-10. But they just look like a football team, that they're competitive, that, you know, in the fourth quarter of games, they're giving good teams a run for their money, even if they come up short. And I don't want to put like a specific win-loss total on it, but I think there's going to be an eye test factor for this group this year that they look like, all right, now going in to the following season, now there's really a reason to believe.
Yep, agree completely, Bob. And all eyes will be on Salah on the sidelines because he is a guy that interacts with players, at least historically as a defensive coordinator. He is a guy who's very, very engaged with his team. Bob, I'm going to ask you a very, very important question. When Michael Carter of the Jets makes a play this season, are you every time going to remind yourself, I have to tell folks if this is the running back or if this is the cornerback? You got two Michael Carters, my friend.
Yeah, if they were both on the same side of the ball, that would be a problem. At least we know we've got one guy on one side of the ball, one guy. I mean, maybe there's going to be some type of special teams catastrophe that I'll have, two Michael Carters converge and make a tackle at the same time. I guess I'll have to be ready for that. But yeah, thankfully, I'm going to be able to say that's the offensive Michael Carter. That's the defensive Michael Carter. I thought it was great that one's from Carolina and one's from Duke, which clearly sets up a possibility when they go good on good 11 on 11 in training camp for like a Michael Carter on Michael Carter fight. So who knows? We might get that kind of drama.
That perhaps a fun thing to look forward to. And Bob, we hope you have an opportunity to just have more positive calls. When we come back, we have you back on. We'll play the calls, the successful calls from you and the broadcast team there for the Jets in celebration and not as much a look back in the previous concert.
I'm feeling the love from you guys. I appreciate that. I'll take all the empathy that you can throw our way.
Bob Wischusen, voice of the Jets, joining us on NFL Now. Thank you, Bob.